I'm back now. As you know, if you follow the channel, I've been training for a couple of months to do a walk that is called the Jog, which is from Land's End to John O'Groats. And for months I've been training in England, going to hidden gems and just doing a lot of hiking. And on the 1st of May, I also made a video letting you know that I am off and I'm gonna go and do it. And that's why I haven't been able to reply to comments or be active on the channel other than once a week. I just wanted to make this video to let you know I'm back. I'll let you know how I got on with the walk and let you know what I've learned from the walk. And I feel it's important to right off just say I didn't make it the full length. I did not make it to John O'Groats, which of course is disappointing, but I did make it across all of England, which I'm really proud of. It took me 50 days and I went from Land's End to a place on the Scottish border called Carter Bar, which interestingly is actually the same place I ended my hitchhiking trip from Brighton to Carter's Bar, which is hitchhiking across England, which was like 4 or 5 years ago. So it was a wild experience to show up there in a journey that took 50 days, whereas hitchhiking had taken 2 days. I want to talk a bit about why I didn't go to John O'Groats, because I definitely owe you guys an explanation, because I've been saying I'm going to John O'Groats, I've got a fundraiser, I've put my word behind it, and so it's important to me to explain to you and hopefully you understand why. And I am sorry if I do let anyone down with my reasons. If it's not good enough for you, I do apologize, but it was my personal decision and I felt and I still feel it was the right one, and so I'll explain why right now. Most awkward YouTuber of all time. Basically, I ended up, as I said before, hiking 50 days and probably did close to 800 miles with the sort of detours I did, and then add however many more to do the type of filming I do, which is setting up a camera and walking away. Previously to this, the most I had done was 2 nights wild camping or 3 nights wild camping, one of the two. So this was 50 days, and so I still feel very happy with the result, because I really feel, even though I called it early, that I tested my limits. I went beyond my limits, and some of them you'll see in the videos. I really had a wild and crazy adventure, learned so much, had such a good time. And so the reason why when I got to the Scottish border after 50 days of walking, I felt it was time to call it, was because that enjoyment that I felt going through exploring waterfalls and hidden gems, because the route I was going is not straight up England, it was like this, wiggling up, seeing as many hidden gems as I can along the way. The reason why I did that and not go a straight route was because I never did this journey to say I've gotten to John O'Groats. It was about seeing these hidden gems, having an adventure, filming it, but most importantly, it was about getting out of this rut I was in. I was in a really dark, bad rut. I was struggling with my mental health, my anxiety was through the roof, I was finding it hard just to go outside, I was on antidepressants, anti-anxiety pills. I was just a bit of a mental mess, to be honest, before I left, and I actually made a video saying that I wouldn't do the Jog in April sometime. It all felt too overwhelming, this challenge I had set for myself, that I almost didn't even go on it. I almost cancelled before I even got to the start line. It was really important for me to do this, all those things set aside, and of course the fundraiser as well. To set all that aside, it was a really personal journey, and I didn't maybe share that as much as I should have, but it's just difficult to be vulnerable in that way. I saw this as a way to break out of whatever I was in. I hope I would learn and grow from this and develop past a lot of these just darkness that clouded me. I wanted to, get out and have a crazy wild adventure and just leave all that behind, if only for 50 days, then for 50 days, or however long, 3 months I thought it would take me to get to John O'Groats. So that was the aim of the trip. And so after 50 days, I'm really happy to say that I feel a crazy mental transition. I learned so much. I'm terrible at speaking and I want to put it all into words, but it's basically when you're just walking every day and all you're doing is walking and eating, and you're in a really vulnerable state because you don't know anyone, you don't really know where you're going if you're unplanned like me, and you're just kind of stumbling your way up. It's a ridiculous freeing feeling to do that, to see new places every day, to challenge yourself physically and mentally in this healthy, not over the top way. It was wonderful and it was really transformative. And so through it, I started to come to these realizations about my life, realizations about my mental state, why I was there. Because once you get out of this routine, I think everyone finds this, you build these routines in life. I think it's just what humans do. And I had done this. And you just kind of follow it because it's what you've always done. It's the momentum of it. It's easier just to follow the momentum than to stop it or to even know that you have to. And so this trip just stopped the momentum in everything. All I could do was walk, film, and eat and meet people. And that's such a different lifestyle than I've been living for years, really. Because of that, I could really see from an outside perspective how I'd gotten myself into this funk, into this like low point of feeling and letting depression and anxiety creep up and take over. I realized firstly that I'm totally in control of this. When you're in it, it feels uncontrollable. It feels like, how on earth? This is just going to be something forever that I'll have. And in the walk was the first time I realized, like, I'm not feeling anxious. After a couple of days, it just kind of washed away because you don't have time to worry about the little things that come up and then over-escalate. And you're too tired to worry about that also. Being able to actually not feel like depressed or anxious for multiple days made me realize that I can do something to make me not feel that way. And that was like the first step in realizing I'm in control. That was a really big revelation. And then from there I was able to really look at how I was living and kind of track how unhealthy that was. And for me personally, it was overworking. I mean, it sounds so obvious now, but at the time, like I was saying, you get in this movement, in this momentum, and you just go with it. I just would work all the time. I had tied my self-worth to my work. Whether I was a failure or success as a human determined on whether or not I was a failure or success in how I made videos and how they did, which is really dumb. I mean, I really shouldn't have done that at all, and I don't know how I got there. I think over time, slowly, and just not being able to check myself on that made it just a part of me that I didn't even realize I needed to change. So seeing that, breaking that routine from not working at all, other than filming, I was able to see, you know, how unhealthy that was, this mentality I had to just every day, I just have to work as hard as I can, because if I don't, then I am not worth anything. And it's ridiculous to say out loud, but that is how I felt, and that drove me to just work ridiculous hours, never take weekends off, spend not enough time with people I love, and then I'm wondering why I feel so shit. Like, that is why, or it's the catalyst anyway. And so coming back, I was able to implement these rules into my life that I would have never known to do if it wasn't for the walk, if it wasn't for stepping away from that lifestyle for a bit and realizing, holy shit, I don't want to live that lifestyle. I really realized what was important to me in life, and it's not work. Work is like, it's fulfilling and it's fun, but that's what it is. It's not who I am as a person. It's not the definition of me being a failure or success as a human being. It's nothing to do with that. What is important to me is people I love and giving love into the world. That's the most important thing. It's about spending time with those you love, really being in the moment, in those moments with them, and just trying to be the best partner, family member, friend that you can be to those you care about, and even to those that you don't, strangers you meet in the street. It's about smiling, it's about being nice to other people. Well, that's what I found anyway. That was the revelation that I felt was, wow, that is what's important to me. None of the other stuff. That was really good. I could totally reset my focus in life. It sounds cliche, right? It sounds like, oh yeah, you went on a walk and then you Sure, you're changed. But I mean, you know, like a great evidence of that is I was actually able to get off my medication by the end of the trip, something I didn't think I could do. I just never thought I could do that. I hoped I could, but in reality, I was like, oh, you know, I'm broken. That was my thought. I'm mentally broken. I had no idea that it was so in my control, and that what had caused this I could equally reverse over time. And I'm not saying I'm, you know, 100% it's gone dusted, but I'm on the path to that. And I couldn't even say I knew what the path looked like before the trip. And so, I mean, in a long-winded answer, to get back to why at Carter Bar, saying all that I decided to call the end of the trip, was because at that point it started to feel less like the adventure, less like the self-discovery and exploration that I'd set it out to be, and it started to feel more like an endurance race, which was not the point. I think my problem was I didn't take any rest days in the 50 days, and so by the time I got to Carter Bar, and I'm sure you'll see in the videos, I look dead. I'm so tired. I think I just pushed myself. Partly, I'm glad I pushed myself. I think it's what helped me grow and learn through this, and also have a crazy, awesome adventure, you know, and get to the border of Scotland and walk the length of England. But at that point, for really the Pennine Way, my mental mindset started to switch, and it started to be like, I gotta get through today. And I stopped really enjoying the hidden gems. My mindset's changed from this is an adventure and oh my goodness, look around me where I am and what I get to see, because come on, it's amazing. And then just because I pushed myself so hard that I was just so tired, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I need to complete this. And I tried for about 2 weeks to get out of that mindset, and I had some good days definitely in that, but overall I couldn't get that back. I couldn't get back that just pure freedom of adventure and enjoying seeing waterfalls and stuff. When you start walking past waterfalls like, whatever, I gotta get to the end point of today, that's when you know that it is no longer an adventure and it's an endurance race. And I never did this to complete it. That was the goal, that's what I wanted to do, that's what I pushed to do. But I wasn't gonna let all that growth that I'd felt and this amazing experience I had be ruined and turned into something just miserably dragging my feet for another month just to say I completed it. I think the old Josh at the start of that trip would have done that, because to complete the trip is a success, and therefore I am worth living. Which is so silly and so dumb, I know, but it's how I felt. These things, these goals to complete and succeed, they define me. But through the walk, I realized that this walk doesn't define me. I'm just here to have an adventure and have fun, because that's what life is. It's an adventure and fun. And yes, you need to push past your limits. Sometimes you're not going to enjoy a day out and adventuring. That's natural. It's ups and downs. But when you just stay down, and I knew it to myself that I was done. After those 50 days, I was done. And yeah, the old me would have pushed on, not enjoyed the month, looked back, really not see it as a great adventure that it should be, and just see it as, well, I completed it, great. Whereas now, I didn't get to John O'Groats, but I did something that I'm really proud of, walk the length of England, spend 50 days wild camping pretty much, and walk away from it having really enjoyed the experience, keeping all those things I had learned, and just stopping when it stopped being an adventure. And that was really important to me. The bit that makes me feel bad about that decision isn't the personal part, it's that I said I would do it. And to you guys, and to people who donated, and those that supported and looked forward to seeing me doing the whole trip. That's what I feel bad about. And I am sorry if I let you down, if you feel like I should have done it or I gave up. I'm sorry to you if that's how you feel. For me personally, I'm really happy and I'm proud of what I've been able to do, and I'm just over the moon to be able to be out and feel like myself again. Another thing, you know, why I'm really happy with the result is actually, if you've been following this channel for a long time, to backtrack a bit, after high school, I did this backpacking trip around Asia. I motorbiked the length of Vietnam and went to Thailand, trained Muay Thai, and had these crazy experiences and these wild adventures, and I had so much fun. And that's the last time I remember not feeling anxious or down. That slowly just built up as I spent more and more time just working and neglecting every other part of my life. Over time, it just escalated to a tipping point, and at the time I was living out in Macau when this happened, and I had to come home. I had to come home to England. I had a total breakdown. I just couldn't be me. I couldn't be independent, which sounds, you know, it's hard to say. But I had to come back from Macau, living in Macau, and come back to England to be with my family. And this was at the time, a little bit after COVID as well. And so you're locked down. At that time, I was probably the worst mentally I've ever been. And you'll see in the videos, I still wanted to make videos. I still loved adventure. But I was so terrified of everything, anxious and down, that all I could do at the start was local walks. And you'll see in the videos, if you've been following for the year, it's like it starts these small walks one day, maybe an hour or two. It's all I could do. It sounds crazy. I just could get out of the house, and it was a time bomb before anxiety took over. I couldn't go even buy food at a shop. It was ridiculous. It was this slow process of building up back to who I was, someone who could motorbike Vietnam or go do Muay Thai in Thailand or hitchhike England, to feel like you can't do that anymore. It's like you're mentally disabled from that. it's a really weird feeling. You're like, I know that was me, but something is broken and I can't do that anymore. And it's an awful feeling. And so I worked really hard to build that back up, to try get help. With therapy, medication, doctors, appointments, just when I came back to England, that's what I was doing. And with the adventures, that was a way to help me a little bit by little bit get out of my comfort zone. So local walks, and then going a little bit further but with a friend, and just doing a couple of hours, and then eventually getting to the point where I could camp with a friend, and then getting to the point where I could hike alone, and then getting to the point where I could hike but sleep in my car, and then get to a point where I could hike and wild camp. That took a year. That took a year to build up, and it was so difficult. And man, it was a really personal journey to fight anxiety and get out of this rut. And it was a slow process. And through this walk, I'm not saying that this was it was just the walk, but it was the final thing. From all that build up, the help from medical professionals then allowed me to get into a mindset where now I can get off my medication. I'm not saying that you should never go on medication. Oh, just go for a walk, that will solve all your mental health issues. Not at all. It's a slow process, but there is a process. There is a way to get out of it. It's not this pit you just fall in and you stay in. You have to climb out, and it takes time. And the longer you've neglected, the deeper that pit can be, and the longer it takes to get out, but you'll get out. And I would say that before, but I would never really 100% know if that's true. But now I know it's true, because I am well out of that pit, which is so good. I'm so happy about that. Man, I feel I've just gone on crazy tangents. I have a lot to say, I guess. It's been a wild year. It really has. And if you've been following the YouTube, thank you so much, because you've been a part of that. These videos and pushing myself slowly to do these adventures has helped me reclaim who I am, and to not live in the shadow of anxiety or depression, to prove to myself that I can do these difficult things and challenge myself, mentally and physically. And that slowly over time allowed me then to do the walk and do 50 days wild camping and meeting people. Like, I can talk to a cashier, and then I'm going from that to, at the end of when I reached Carter Bar, I realized I had to get to Newcastle, and so I hitchhiked, and I really wasn't that worried about it. It was fine. I could never have done that. I could have never done that at the start of the trip, or a year ago. No way. And the walk was also amazing to see the kindness of strangers, because I was out there and I met so many people, and they were lovely, and they invited me around for tea. I'd like to stay at their house. They helped me, walked with me. It was amazing. It made me realize that people are awesome. And when you get social anxiety, which is the specific type I had, you just get scared of people. You just don't want to talk to them. And I talked to so many people, and by the end I was like, nothing to be scared of. People are awesome, and the ones that aren't are in the minority. It's not the other way around. That's what's been going on. That's why I called it 50 days. That's why I'm back. That's why I feel really good about it. The series is going to be coming out tomorrow. So this video is up on a Thursday. On Friday, 5:30 p.m. UK time, the video will be first part of my walking England will be coming out. I'm really excited for you guys to see it, and yeah, I just want to thank you all for the support. All been so kind in my journey, not only to train for the Le Jog, but just through the YouTube channel. So it means a lot. I feel very grateful to be where I am, and so lucky to be able to get out of where I was. And I hope that if you're feeling anything like that, that you know that you can get out, and it'll just take time, and it's your own personal journey, but you can do it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can push out of the darkness. Yeah, and that's everything, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for when I start walking England.